Jonathan Roumie is the actor who portrays Jesus Christ in the hit TV show The Chosen. Having just launched its 5th season, the show has already been watched by over 280 million people around the world, winning Jonathan legions of fans and critical acclaim. And in this one-on-one interview, Jonathan opens up about how he was struggling in life before taking on this incredible role. I know there was one stage even when you said you had $20 in your pocket and that was kind of just about it.
Yeah, the goal was to just at least at that point pay my bills and to have enough food for more than just the next day.
And how, after putting his career in God's hands, he says everything changed.
I basically surrendered everything to him. I said, I'm giving this over to you, Lord, and if this is what you want from me, if you want me to continue, then you have to step in here because I'm at the end of my rope, I'm at my wit's end.
And Jonathan is honest about the struggles of being a believer.
The enemy attacking us and making us think twice about, the utility of religion or faith or the reality of God. Does God even exist? Like, what's the point?
We talk about The Chosen, from his reaction to being asked to play Jesus in the religious-themed drama. What if I'm typecast? What if, that didn't worry you at all? No.
No, I mean, listen, if an actor is typecast, he should count his blessings.
And now that it has become such a huge hit around the world, we talk about the psychological aspect of portraying Jesus, someone that billions of people follow. It puts the bar much higher for you in your own personal life as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes me much more aware of an implied level of accountability. I can aspire to sainthood. That's my goal.
I'm Colin Flynn, and this is an interview with Jonathan Roumie. Jonathan Roumie, great to see you. How are you doing?
Good to see you, Colin. Thanks for having me here.
It's been just a few hours since you were at the Vatican and you got to meet Pope Leo XIV. What was that like?
I did. It was fantastic. He was so kind and so gracious and generous with his time. There's so much happening at once when he's meeting people and so many people there, and it just kind of all goes by in a blur, and there's so many things you want to say to him, and you maybe get 2 of the 10 things out, and I call that a win.
What did you say to him, and what did the Holy Father say to you?
There was a lot that was said in a short amount of time, and most of it is a blur, but I told him that I think I told him that I was humbled to be there, and it was great to meet him. He hadn't seen the show that I'm on, but his brother was a fan of it, and so he knew of the show, and I said, well, we brought some DVDs to help remedy that.
Were you like,
situation.
Do you have a DVD player in there, or do you want me to hook one up? Or?
I didn't want to go into if he has an Amazon account or anything like that because, just didn't want to get so. We got old school media, and so he was very gracious.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know that you had met Pope Francis, I think, twice, was it?
That's right.
What was the difference between meeting Pope Francis and now meeting kind of one of your own, an American Pope, Pope Leo?
About 2 years.
2 years of a difference. Yeah. This should be a comedy show with Jonathan Roumie tonight on EWTN.
Well, I mean, the most notable difference was not having a language barrier. I wasn't trying to prepare something in Spanish to be able to muddle through for Pope Francis, like I did at the times that I met him. When you can communicate with somebody in your own language, it makes all the difference. For instance, I mentioned, because Pope Leo is from Chicago, I said, it's nice to be able to throw out references like the Bulls and the Bears and him understand what I'm referencing. So I think you got a kick out of that.
I read somewhere that you had said when you heard that the Pope was an American Pope that you actually wept. You found it so emotional. What?
Yeah, yes, because I just never thought I would ever live to see the day. I just, I feel like the minority of cardinals being American was just so against the possibilities of becoming a pontiff in my lifetime that I just, when it turned out to be him, and there was just just a kindness on his face and just a charity about him that just moved me. It was really, it was overwhelming at first, and just really, really excited. I didn't think I would get to meet him this soon and this early into his pontificate, so this was a very welcome surprise.
So the next time you meet him, you're going to have to ask him what he thought of the DVDs, since he has them. No excuse, Holy Father.
Do you have a DVD player?
Yeah. I can give you my Amazon account login if you want,
right.
But I mean, just use it for a while. This is incredible because you're here in Rome. You were premiering season 5 of The Chosen.
Yeah.
And I know we were recently together in Matera where you were filming season 6, which we're really looking forward to as well. And when we look at how successful the series has been, with people of faith, with people of no faith, with 280 million viewers, is it?
Last I heard, 280, 300, somewhere around there.
In 175 countries around the world.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the incredible success and how it's changed your life, if we go back to your days kind of as an ambitious young actor, you're from New York City, is that right?
That's right.
Did you start acting in New York? Is that where the bug bit you, or where did you?
I did. Yeah, I started in New York. I started in voiceover, and then I found my way into commercials, mostly voice for commercials at first, and then on camera, and then I did some theater, and I think by the time I did my first couple of plays, I was sunk. I was like, okay, and I got to figure out how to do this for a living.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. So I didn't quit my day job until I moved out of New York City, and then I had to find different day jobs, a variety of which I had never done before, like catering and rideshare driving and food delivery and house painting and teaching and everything you do as an actor to just keep the bills paid, hopefully.
It's that stereotype of living in Los Angeles. Every second person you meet, whether it's the waiter or the Uber driver, they're also an actor doing auditions on the side.
Yeah.
Tough life.
I mean, it's not for everybody, finding a job that offers you flexibility to cultivate a skill set to be able to do the thing that you really want to do. It's not for most people. And to find success at it, I think it's kind of up there with like the odds of being an Olympian, like an Olympic athlete. Getting to that point, it's so rare. It just feels like it's almost impossible. But if you, for my money, I believe, and I still believe that God gave me certain gifts to use, to share with the world, and specifically to glorify His name in some way. And until I realized that, I didn't really have success. And once I committed my career to Him, and in doing so, the entirety of my life, that's when my life changed.
And was it in the family in any way? Because your dad is Egyptian and your mother's from this beautiful island on the west coast of Europe called Ireland.
Yeah.
Any of them in show business or entertainment or acting?
No, the furthest thing from the arts. But well, actually, it's not true. My father was a naturally gifted artist, but he never pursued performing arts or anything like that. And in doing so and trying to make a living for his family and provide for his family, what he did do was give his children the option and the encouragement to do whatever we felt called to do. And so having seen him sort of sacrifice his potential artistic career, I kind of made it a personal commitment to make sure that I succeeded in honor of his sacrifice.
And Jonathan, when you were living in Los Angeles, as you said, such a tough industry, such a difficult game, and the odds of making it are so slim. I know there was one stage even when you said you had $20 in your pocket and that was kind of just about it.
Yeah.
And you weren't sure where the next gig was going to come from. What was driving you? What were you aiming towards? What did you want in your life at that point?
To work. I just simply wanted to work consistently. Even at that point that you're referencing, I was about 7 years ago. The goal was to just at least at that point pay my bills and to have enough food for more than just the next day, which I didn't. And so even like the idea of working as an actor, that was like, well, let's get survival. That's the priority right now. Survival is the priority.
Did you have a plan B? Did
No.
you think, maybe I'll give up the acting and try something else, or just,
No. In fact, when I first got to Los Angeles, when I found the first church that I started going to, I was having a chat with the priest, with the head of the parish, and we were talking, and I was just kind of sharing that I was struggling, and trying to find joy and trust in God and faith and everything, but it was just, everything was really hard, and I wasn't quite working as an actor in the way that I had hoped to have been by that point, even a couple of years in, and he was an older Irish priest, Father Colum, funny enough, and he's like,
"It was me.
It was you."
Yeah.
Whoa,
I
this is
reinvented
weird.
myself.
How did you do that?
Good to see you again, my son.
Yeah, and he's like, "Well, do you have a plan B?" And I said, "Father, this is my plan B." He's like, "Oh, good heavens." Well, I'll pray for you, and that was the advice I got. In prayer, which actually is everything. It's probably what I needed.
And I know you often talk about the strength of your faith now, but I guess it's easy to have good faith and strong faith in God during the good times, but in the tough times, when you were in Los Angeles and struggling to get by, were you thinking, God, what about me here? Don't forget about Jonathan.
Well, I think it was precisely in those tough moments, in that specifically challenging moment, that I had no other alternative but to turn to my faith and to really activate the thing in which I believed, which was that God was there, He was with me, He was present, not only in the good times, but especially through the troubles and the trials, and that if I really were to walk the walk of faith, then I have to put my money where my mouth is, and I have to believe Him when He says, "I am with you," and nothing is impossible for me, and to ask and you shall receive, and seek and you shall find, and knock and the door will be opened, and so I did that in that moment, and I basically said that I basically surrendered everything to Him. I said, "I'm giving this over to you, Lord, and if this is what you want from me, if you want me to continue walking the path of an artist, then you have to step in here, because I'm at the end of my rope. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know where to go next, and so it's yours." And when I did that, I truly felt that a weight had been lifted. A responsibility was no longer mine. There was the burden wasn't on me anymore, nor had it really ever been on me, but I just assumed it was, and I acted like it was, because I wasn't trusting in that relationship the way I ought to have been.
And challenging to maintain that strong faith in a place like Los Angeles, in the entertainment industry, in those circles. I remember hearing you say before to the New York Times that someone had advised you once, "Look, I'll give you some advice. Don't talk about your faith publicly. It just won't do you any favors in this game."
Yeah. I think finding the right community is key. It's vital. If you don't have some sort of community, some sort of faith community, some sort of outlet with which you can share your faith and feel like you have support, feel like you have a village, it's going to be that much harder. The enemy always is looking to divide us against each other and to tear us apart, and to, because when we're strong, when we're together, when we're supporting each other, when we're listening to each other, when we're there for each other, then we are stronger as a people, we're stronger as a group of believers, but when we're singled out and isolated and just, in a state of solitude and we don't have that kind of faith community to rely on, then we're much more susceptible to the enemy attacking us and making us think twice about, the utility of religion or faith or the reality of God. Does God even exist? Like, what's the point? Like, you then become a much bigger target for the enemy when you're not, in community, And Christ himself says, whenever two or more are present in my name, I am there with you. I think that's part of having a faith community. So if you don't have a faith community, the first thing you need to do to strengthen yourself, to get out of your depression, get out of your whatever kind of state of mind that might be holding you back from moving forward in your faith journey, find a community, find a good priest, find people that you can talk to that are like-minded, that you can share your faith with and not feel you're completely and totally alone, and or somebody to pray with even, and that can become the beginning of a tectonic shift in your, not only your spiritual life, but your physical life, your reality. The reality of the life you're living will change through that community in Christ.
And that's what happened to you when you put your trust in God. Yeah. Your whole reality changed.
Yes.
When Dallas Jenkins asked you to take part in this new crowdfunded project that was probably going to go nowhere, not get much attention, but we'll try it anyway. Something called The Chosen. Did you hesitate when he asked you to get involved?
No.
No?
No, because I had worked with him already, number one. Number two, I needed a job. And number three, I had just committed 3 months earlier to following the Lord's direction, and wherever the Spirit was kind of leading me, to evaluate it and discern it and pray about it. But since Dallas and I had already had a relationship and friendship and a working relationship for the previous 4 years, it was literally a matter of just saying, when do we start?
But even the secular side of things, and again that worry, what if I'm typecast? What if, if I take you didn't, that didn't worry you at all? No.
No, I mean, listen, if an actor is typecast, he should count his blessings, because that means he's working. And most people aren't working. That's just the reality of it. So thank God if you're typecast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not worried about being typecast as Jesus. If nobody wants to, will I play Jesus in other projects after this? Probably not. But, if somebody were to cast me as some other biblical character, well, if the script is great and the director's great and the cast is great and it's a compelling and an interesting story that I feel like I want to tell or I can contribute to or challenges me in some way, yeah, I'm going to give it a serious consideration because I like telling those stories.